Hello, welcome to the Opinionistics podcast. I'm your host, John Malone. As for our guest, he is from Lowell, Florida. He's an author of Meth Murder and the Amazon. I think that's how you say it. But ladies and gentlemen, here he is, G.S Gerry.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Anytime. So, tell me about the books you've recently written.
Yeah, so I wrote a book called Meth Murder on Amazon. Yes, it's that Amazon, not in the Amazon, right? Although
Okay.
depending.
Okay. So what are so what is like the plot line of these two books specifically?
Yes, so the book is essentially a story about me and my family trying to sell our house and move, from one location to the other. Along the way, I get accused of murder, as well as making meth in my garage, like Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. All the while I'm working at Amazon. So it's basically the worst assumptions turned into the worst accusations, and it's crazy.
Okay. And what gave you the idea to write these two books?
So it's actually just this one book. So it's on paperback, hardback, audiobook as well. But basically what happened was I had a situation at work. I do cybersecurity and payment card compliance, and I had to do a lot of report writing afterwards. I was like, hey, feel like I just wrote a novel, and I had this crazy situation happen to me and my family. I was like, that's it. I'm just gonna do it. And so that's kind of how it started. And so it kind of, essentially started out as an inside joke. And then the more I started writing it, the more I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. Like I'm having a good time doing this. So just kind of transformed from there.
Okay. Great. And what do you like about being an author?
Just the creativity. I really like the aspect, I try to write it from a different perspective, try to do something that's not been done before. So the book is going to be vastly different than probably a lot of people have ever read, but it's kind of on purpose, right? And so it's like, hey, if I'm going to do this, why not try something different? When we talk, you and I talk, right? We don't talk in, quote unquote normal sentences. There's a lot of run on sentences. And so the book almost reads like you and I are having a conversation, which is probably a lot different than what's out there right.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And is there any group of people or one person in particular that inspired you to write creatively or become an author in any way?
I think Frank Sinatra, old school singer, probably said it best. He has that famous song "That's Life," and I feel like that's basically it. Life happens on a daily basis, and it'll keep happening. And there's one of two ways you can approach it: either let it get you down, or turn it into something else. So it basically took a whole bunch of lemons and turned them into lemonade, if you will.
Okay. Interesting. And in your opinion, what have been the highs and the lows of being an author?
Um, Definitely the highs. Starting out, I was like, how can I do this in a different way, and just kind of trying to think outside the box. But my favorite part of the writing was actually coming up with the character names. You read the book, there's a lot of hilarious characters in there. I have Dobby Snobby. My wife is Sergeant Shredded. So I come up with crazy, wacky names. But basically, it's not about the name; it's really about the story. And so that's what I really liked about the writing aspect. And the more I came up with the names, the more I'm like, oh man, I could come up with tons and tons of names. Right? So I have all these crazy stories that have happened to me and my family. But I would say the lows is, I was reaching out to people, and I was like, hey, would you mind, reading this for me or giving me, some feedback? And I couldn't get anybody to give me feedback, and so I was like, all right, fine, no one wants to help me. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. And so, I just take it in stride and try and learn from it as best I can.
Okay, great, great. What have you taken any massive risks throughout your entire life?
I would say massive risk. I don't know. I mean, I've been skydiving a couple of times. So that's pretty risky. I never thought I would skydive. I'm like, I'm definitely not doing that. And then I had a friend one time. He's like, hey, we're gonna go skydiving for our birthday. I was like, yeah, yeah, okay, I'll do it with you. And it's like, there's no way this guy's gonna call me. Sure enough, he's like, all right, I got us booked. You ready? I'm like, oh my gosh, all right, I guess I can't go back now. So um, definitely that. Let's see, I have 4 kids. My first one, my wife was 16 and pregnant, so been through that situation. Now we have number 5 on the way.
Wow. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. And are you about to or in the process of writing another book?
So I am in the I do have a few ideas. I can take it a number of different ways. So the house that this happened, and the meth and the murder, I could do kind of like a prequel to it. I had some issues, trying to complete a basement. I also could do a sequel to the house that we moved into after we, sold the meth and the murder house. So I can kind of do like a sequel to Meth Burner on Amazon. Or I can do some other crazy books. My wife, whenever she was pregnant with our last child, she actually didn't even make it into the hospital. She had the baby on the emergency room waiting floor. So I could obviously tell a crazy story about that. So there's a lot of different life situations that have happened, and I feel like, hey, all these situations are crazy in and of themselves, and I could probably tell in a really funny way, which is kind of what I'm going for.
Okay. Neat. Neat. And do you have like a particular process on writing these books, or do you just write whatever comes to your mind?
I kind of try and just, once ideas come to my head, I would say I probably don't have the best process just because, I have my phone on constantly. So I'd be like, oh, I have an idea pop in my head, boom, write this down. And sometimes, I'll get pulled in for hours just, writing my thoughts down. And, I ran into this program that someone had recommended to me called Scrivener. And they're like, hey, you should use this. And I had already wrote the entire book on my phone at this point. I was like, man, if I would have had this from the beginning, I would have been in a lot better shape. So there's definitely different ways I probably would have done it, but I started out on my phone and then I kind of edited it and critiqued it and updated it, on computer. That so kind of took a rough outline, threw it up into the computer, and really kind of cleaned it up after
Okay. Nice. Nice. Do you have any fears whatsoever?
that. Any fears? Don't like spiders. I don't like cockroaches. I can tell you that.
Yeah, fair
Uh,
enough.
Yeah, actually when I was a like teenager, I was in my parents' garage and I was getting something out of like our freezer was out there, and all of a sudden like I felt something fall on my neck. I'm like, what the heck is that? And like I like flicked my hand, like to see what it was. A freaking big palmetto bug like fell on my back and was crawling up, and I was like, ah. So from that point on, I'm like, no way, I hate cockroaches.
Okay. Okay. I can see that.
Yeah, I would say I wasn't necessarily fond of heights. I wouldn't say it was a fear, but I was like, I'm definitely not going skydiving. I've done that, so I'd say that probably helped with my not fun, want to go up and be real high. But now it's like, hey, what can be crazier than skydiving?
Okay. Cool. Cool. What's the most comfortable piece of clothing you own?
Uh, Hoodies. I like to wear hoodies a lot. We keep it pretty chilly in the house, so I'm probably always wearing a sweater while I'm at work, doing my thing. From a day job perspective, my wife will turn the temperature up and I'll go and turn it down. I'm like, I've already got my hoodie on. She's like, you're freezing me. I'm like, that's okay. Just go put a sweater on. She's like, no, take your sweater off. So probably definitely the hoodies.
Okay. Nice. Nice. And if someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
If they wrote a book about me, oh man, what would the title be? That's a good one. Uh, Maybe Class Clown turns it around, something like that. When I was younger, I was not the most well behaved kid, especially as a teenager. I used to work a lot with my parents at their business, and I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to go play sports. I'm trying to play basketball. Leave me alone." So I would say, I was always, kind of a prankster in class. So going from, "Hey, this kid's always joking around," to, now I've got 2 degrees. I've written a book. First one of my family to go to college. First one to write a book. So I would say, class ground, turn it around would probably be a good one.
Hmm. Okay. Nice. Nice. What is the best way to start the morning?
The best way to start the morning, I would say, is with music. So, something that's uplifting, kind of clear your minds, especially when you wake up, maybe you had a rough time sleeping or whatever, you can kind of just get in that mood and, get yourself going, maybe pick your spirits up. I also like to work out too, so if I could start the day working out, I would. But I'm not, I would say I'm not a morning person just in general. So just getting out of bed is a struggle in and of itself.
Okay, seems fair. Seems a very seems interesting. I like that. Yes, I love it. What's the best pair of shoes you own?
Best pair of shoes I own. I got some Asics Quantum 360. I like to run and stuff. I'm actually injured right now, but they're super comfortable. You can pretty much wear them anywhere. Pretty cool design. So I've got a couple pairs of the Quantum 360.
Okay, great. Love it.
What about you?
Well, I think the best pair of shoes I own is like my black trainers that I wear every day because, well, the uh, I just finished. This was my last day at college, and they had this dress code where I have to wear all blacks because of my because the course demands it. So the best pair of shoes I own is like black trainers, which goes well with the dress code at the college for my course. And yeah,
Heck yeah, trainers, sports fitness shoes are definitely comfortable, so you can't go wrong with that.
yeah, I agree. How often do you stay up late?
When do I not stay up late? I have four kids. I think I said that right. So, it's actually it used to be like a running joke. Like if we made it before to bed before midnight, that's basically like someone was sick. Um, since I was in the Navy for 7 years. While I was in the Navy, I got my degree. So once I started going to school, I mean, I was Navy full time. After I left the Navy, I was on the computer. I was doing the school, so I was always up. And this was, started when we had two kids, finished when I had the third one, essentially. And so pretty much from that point forward, it's pretty much midnight is likely the earliest. My wife gets trying to get to bed a little earlier because now she's pregnant. So I think we made it to bed a couple of times here or there, like 5 or something like that. But it's almost like, yeah, more like when do we go to bed?
Okay, okay, I can see that. If you had to pick any character in a book, movie, or TV show, who do you think is most similar to you?
Hmm, who is most similar to me? I would say, I like what the genie says from Aladdin, right? He goes often imitated, never duplicated. I like that line specifically. I actually will use that at work sometimes. And be like, hey, not all of us are the same, right? We have different auditors that come in and assess companies for various reasons. And so not everyone's the same, but, you're always looking for, hey, this is the guy that's going to do the job the right way. And so, hey, often imitated, but certainly never duplicated. So I would say that.
Okay, I like that. What takes a lot of time but is definitely worth it?
What takes a lot of time but's worth it? I would say being a parent. Know that they definitely take a lot of time, a lot of energy. But raising them right, seeing them succeed, is definitely beneficial. We like to use our manners. Please, thank you, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. And so it's great, right? Like they get away from us and they go, with their grandparents, or they go, get a babysitter, just hang out by themselves. Because the oldest is going to be 17. We always get good feedback. Oh, they were so great. They were so well behaved. It's a joy to hear from our side, but they're definitely little terrorists sometimes for us. So hey, be bad with mom and dad, but you better use your manners when you're with somebody else.
Oh, yes. Mhm. Absolutely. So, where was the most relaxing place you've been to?
Most relaxing place we've been to, I would say, is Hanging Lake in Colorado. It's about a mile and a half hike up this mountain, this kind of hilly terrain. And we've actually taken the kids up there multiple times, a lot of times when they were younger. But when you get to the top of it, there's an actual like waterfall that's coming out from the top of the mountain. The water is just crystal clear. You can basically see the reflection. Can hike up a little bit more, and there's like a waterfall that's actually coming out of a rock, and so I think it's called Spouting Rock or something like that. But just amazing to go out there. I know they closed that down a few years back. I don't know if they've reopened it, but we've been there numerous times. So it's definitely a good experience.
Okay, nice. If you could make one wish right now, what would it be?
If I can make one wish right now, what would it be? Hmm, that's a good one. Hmm. Oh, you got me stumped here because I don't know that there's one specific wish that I wish for. I mean, I'm sure people wish for money, but money comes with its own problems. I feel like that'll take care of itself. I would say, just kind of wishing for, healthy baby. I hope it's a boy, so maybe wish for that, But if it's a girl, I'm not gonna be upset either. We have two boys and two girls, so
Okay, seems reasonable. What's your strangest hidden talent?
my strangest hidden talent. Um, I don't know that it's strange, but I taught myself how to play the piano. My dad actually grew up. He knew how to play the piano. I was like, Dad, I want to learn how to play the piano. He's like, Oh, you're gonna hate it. You're not gonna like it. I'm like, Dad, I'm asking you, right? Like, if I'm interested, don't you think you would want to like get me into it? He's like, I don't like it. So then I got to ninth grade, and they had a class that you could teach yourself piano. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So I taught myself how to play the piano. I'm not like a pianist or anything, but I can certainly play the piano. It's a hidden talent that probably tons of people know.
Hmm. Okay, cool, cool. How much time do you spend on the internet?
Hmm. How much time do I spend on the internet? I'll probably say a few hours a day. I'm usually researching stuff, right? I'm trying looking at podcasts, trying to get grow my brain, get the book out there. But I obviously like sports, so I'll hit up ESPN, try to keep up with the news here and there. But there's a lot of craziness in the news, so I don't try to fill my head with too much of that. But definitely sports. I keep up with sports, so like basketball, football. So I'm always kind of checking that out.
Hmm. Okay, great, great. What is the one thing you can't live without?
What's the one thing I can't live without? Oh man, I would say good health, right? I mean, if you're not healthy, it's pretty tough to get around. I'm injured myself. I really like to work out. I hurt my hip or my back, something like that. So like I like to run. I like to be fit, and actually tried to run last week, and it messed me up. So it's definitely a struggle because you want to go out there, you want to stay active, be healthy, and you can't even do that because oh, if I do this, I'm just gonna hurt myself. So it's actually difficult, I would say, to be in to be unhealthy. Um,
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I can see that. That's fair. If you had to get rid of a holiday, which one would you get rid of?
Let's see. If I had to get rid of a holiday, I would say Halloween. Not a huge scare fan. We have a lot of kids, so obviously, everyone's always out to scare people. That would be my one, right? I mean, we have a bunch of costumes and stuff here for the kids to play with, so they're always dressing up and doing stuff. Right? We always buy candy, so I feel like we probably throw Halloween away.
Oh yes, I see that. Yeah. Who was the last person you talked to?
The last person I talked to was my wife.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. We She stays home. She takes care of the kids. I work from home as well, so we're always around each other. We actually went and got an ultrasound for the baby. So outside of family, talking to the ultrasound tech today, where we were getting to see the baby on the ultrasound.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. I was telling her about the book and the last time we were there a few weeks ago, and I was like, hey, if you're interested, let me know. I'll come back with the author copy and I'll sign it for you. And so I came back and she was there and she was like, oh, downloaded the audiobook. I haven't got through. And I was like, well, perfect. I brought this book in here for you, so I signed it for her.
All right, cool, cool. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
Man, 20 years from now, let's see, the oldest would be 20. Oh man, see, I'll be 55 then. I don't know, probably playing a lot of golf, enjoying time with the kids. I imagine I'll probably have grandkids. Uh, hopefully, get take off as the author so I can do this forever and not have to worry about a day job. But if not, I definitely love golf, so I'm sure I'll be playing golf in my 50s.
Okay, cool, cool.
What about you? What are you saying in 20 years? What do you want to be?
Sorry, what?
I was saying, what about you? Where would you see yourself in 20 years?
Hmm. Well, to be honest, I'd see myself, well, doing podcasts, obviously, and posting to social media, working on a project right now, and maybe it may launch and it becomes successful. Maybe do a little bit of theater and television work alongside. But yeah, I think 20 years from now, it's be a lot. It's going to be a huge difference from what it is right now, but that's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, but man, in 20 years, who the heck knows? Maybe it won't even be podcast. Maybe it'll be some other crazy thing that they call it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Jerry, talking about your books and what you've written, your process, everything else.
Yeah,
Absolutely amazing.
absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime. And until next time, stay opinionated.